I'm just joking. You're gonna manage it. I'm gonna do yes. I'm going to test that out.
Whoops, dropped my drink.
Oh, I gotta get that out. Oh no! For the world to see, even. What happened? You didn't even pass him a football. You're so inconsiderate.
I think that was on camera.
I think you're blushing, and that's something I haven't seen very much. Alright! So, how was your first day of school, children?
Oh, God, it was so amazing.
You know my first day of school started at the 14th.
Your first day of school?
No, it was actually pretty good. Except for one guy, I swear, I was getting on my last nerve with him because he was staring at me and I was getting freaked out.
Yeah, choir was kind of small. Like
Choir
10
was
people.
It's a choir,
The sixth
dude.
graders are taller than me. The sixth graders are taller than me, so I...
Can you say
Sixth graders taller than me. Big
How
deal.
good? We're going to scale 1 to 10.
Alright, so, as we get started tonight, man, guys, I'm like so tempted to take you like 3 different directions tonight.
So I got some questions though.
Alright, you got some questions? We got to stick to it, Harrison?
Yeah, you got to.
Alright, does anybody other than Harrison have questions? You guys ready for this?
Okay, but what
Mikey's got a question. Alright, so, Sadie's got, alright, so as you guys know, for those, I see some faces I don't recognize, either you haven't been here or I'm just oblivious. Both are possibilities. It's just a free-for-all random discussion. Anything you've ever wanted to know pertaining to faith, religion, church history. There's some stuff I know, some stuff I don't know. It's okay to agree with me. It's okay to disagree with me. If you disagree with me, feel free to talk about it. That's okay. For some of you, we are doing a new thing. We've had lots of requests. So as of today, we're on YouTube. So this is being recorded right now. It's right here pointed at me. So you don't have to be worried about you being in there. They won't be able to see you in the thing. So if you disagree with me but don't want to do it in person, go to Calvary Chapel Winfield on YouTube and bash me on there. I will feel like really legit when I get trolled on YouTube for the first time. I'm really looking forward to this. So, yeah, you did. You just ruined the world, Michael. And then Jordan grabbed your butt in front of the whole world. Apparently we're that going through. Alright, so,
I do not practice.
if any of you are like weirded out or bothered by that at all, please let me know. It's there because some people have requested it. They can't be here all the time. If it bothers you, just let me know, man. This is not so that we get all popular and famous. I'm not trying to be like, I don't know, some YouTube sensation.
Joel
that-
Osteen.
Can we get a few more angles?
Yeah, definitely not trying to be like Joel
that's
Osteen,
not.
okay? I can't pull off the hair, but I'm working on it. So for you guys that were on the guys retreat, today I went into work and I forgot my hat and I had to gel my hair because it's getting to that point. So this is for you. Just a reminder of that. You guys know the deal. And we're like almost a month into our 1-year challenge. That means we're almost a month into our trip to Colorado. Boom. Throwing that out there. All right, so let's open in prayer, and then we will get started. Anybody want to pray? Anybody? Yes, ma'am. Do it to it.
Alright.
All right.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much that we all get to be here tonight and that it's a good group of people. And I thank you that we have the opportunity to be together like we do and just dig into your word and ask questions and figure out how to do life and serve you while we do it. And I thank you that we get to be a family at the same time, and I pray that tonight is all about you, and I pray that we just digest everything and take it in and store it in our heart and just apply it, and so I just thank you that we get to do that because a lot of people don't. And so thank you for tonight and your heavenly name. Everybody says
Amen. All right, so let's go to the questions you got. Reminder, nothing is off limits. Just be respectful of those that ask questions around you. Put on your mature grown-up ears. Don't giggle and chuckle just because someone says something that makes you giggle or chuckle. Honestly, nothing's off limits. Sex, drugs, alcohol, rock and roll, the world, anything you've heard, things that make us look bad, things that make other churches look bad. We're not here to bash on people. We're just here to find the truth. So whatever you got. So, Harrison, you want to start us off? What you got, bro?
I got a couple, but
All right.
I'll start with one. Somebody, not me, somebody wanted to know if since your body is a temple, does that make being fat sin?
Ooh.
What do you describe as fat?
I don't know. Ask the person.
Who's the person?
We're like a whole 40 pounds.
Well,
I'm a big woman.
That's two in one night.
how am I supposed to concentrate with that? All right, so
Technically,
for
I'm
the thick woman and the rest of us in the room, if your body is a temple, does that make being fat a sin? Well,
Gluttony.
gluttony does come to mind. Anybody got any thoughts on this before I dive in? Anybody? Jordan?
I don't think that being fat is a sin, but I
Okay.
think that some of the things that you do, like gluttony, is a sin in order to get fat.
Okay.
But being fat by itself.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'm kind of thinking our bodies, is a gift, and I think we love to take care of it, consider it as a gift. But I know some people do very well with other people do that. I think over time our body always changing, always we grow old differently. It's consistently changing, but I think if you're taking care of it, if I could get your heart. And I don't know if I think being fat is a sin. I think it's just like if you're not doing it, you take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe be lazy.
Yes, ma'am?
Kind of like icy, but also like I feel like God made you for a reason, and like if you are like thick, then but
It's just a funny way of putting it. It's all right.
I don't like to be really fat.
That's all right. That's all right.
But if you are, I feel like God put you in a test, and He's trying to like test you to like get more body confidence. I feel like, and like same like with him, like we all have our own.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I mean, like, I have friends who, like, have issues, like, diseases that, like, make them gain weight. Like, that wouldn't be a sin because they can't control that.
True.
So, like, I think of it as, like, God wouldn't, like, let it be a sin because, like, I think that the ways, like, certain ways, like, like, if you were, like, to have gluttony, like, that would be a sin. But, like, it's hard to put what my mind is thinking.
No feeling.
I think you understand, though.
Yeah. So, you guys keep throwing out gluttony. So let me ask this. What is gluttony?
I don't know, like,
If you grew up Catholic, you heard it's one of the 7 deadly sins, right? If you grew up, any number of things you may have also heard. I just know the Catholics are bit. There is a movie about the 7 deadly sins. Yeah, Brad Pitt. It's pretty crude, so I'm not going to give a big stamp of endorsement. Watch it before Jesus Days. Okay? What is gluttony? Anybody know? Yep.
over excessive eating, isn't it?
Is it?
I think so.
See?
I think it's like, it's not when you really eat so much, it's like when you put that above God, like if you are in a tough spot and you go to eating instead of God, and you overindulge and just go to that instead of God and just keep going.
So like using God to get your comfort, your joy, or using food instead of God to get your comfort, your joy. What did Google tell us?
It said when you overindulge and take from the poor.
Now, is that Google's definition or the Bible's definition?
That is
Google's definition. When you overindulge and take from the poor. Yo.
I've read the C.S. Lewis book. I think it was actually Scripture. Gluttony is also kind of being very specific and picky about the food. Like you want something in a way, something.
Okay.
That's true.
All right. So that kind of ties in because I love in Corinthians where Paul says that, I mean, you should eat whatever's put in front of you. And I've been seriously offended when we've had missionaries come through and I've prepared a meal for them and then they won't eat it because they're on, I mean, granted, I have dietary choices that I try to stick by, a lot of us do, but when they're like, oh, you fed us this great big meal and you put it out in front of us and you didn't have to do that, but I'm not going to eat it because, you know, I don't eat this. Not because I'm allergic to it, just because I choose not to. That is offensive to me as someone who's prepared. Just throwing that out there. Gluttony's a tough one. Like, you can't turn to X book, X chapter, and find a real clear, laid out definition of gluttony. Jesus was accused of, Jesus was accused of hanging out with the gluttons and the wine bibblers, which is the gluttons and the drunks. We know what drunkenness is. You drink too much, you lose control, you lose your cognitive ability, and you're drunk. It's an easy feeling. If you use that logic and put them together, I would say, has anybody ever ate so much that you're just like, oh, I can't move for like an hour,
But then you eat
right?
more. Yeah.
But then you just take another bite because it's good. That's me every night at the dinner table, right? Or the Chinese buffet. 6 brats in one sitting. 6 brats in one sitting. That's impressive.
John, I literally do that every single day of my life to get calves like these.
Alright, so
I eat brats that wide.
6 of them?
6 of them.
alright. So to boil it down, pun intended, I don't think being fat is a consequence, or overweight, or thick. If it is a consequence to your choices, then it is exactly that. It is a consequence to your choices, just like if you're super thin because you're anorexic or bulimic or you have food allergies, that's all a consequence or a side effect of other choices. I guess food allergy isn't really a choice, so that's not a good example. But if you simply choose not to eat and you're skinny, and you choose to eat all the time as much as you can get your face on, and you're overweight, then you have to say, well, skinny's as much of a sin as overweight, right? But either way, it's a consequence, or it's a direct correlation to other choices that you make. You had your hand up first, go ahead.
Oh, so like you mentioned like eating disorders like anorexia and bulimia, but they're like overeating is an actual like eating disorder. Like that's like
Can be.
yeah.
Just like anorexia or bulimia can be legitimate disorders, or they can be choices. All right, I'm not bashing on anybody. Just saying, some people choose, some people don't. Right? Does that make sense? Okay. Yes.
So, someone could be thick and be a glutton, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could somebody be super thin and be a glutton?
Well, by what Pikey said earlier, if it ties into being super picky and not eating the right things, then yes, it could. So, in itself, overweightedness, obesity, thickness, I don't think that's a sin. But I think it depends on, like everything in the New Testament, where's your heart? If you are upset about something, like Sadie was saying, if you're upset about something and you're like, man, I'm having a really bad day, there's a bag of Twinkies. I'm going to eat all of them.
That makes me think about
That's probably an issue, okay? And then overweight will be a consequence of that. Now, I could digress into all kinds of nutritional things I've learned and heard about and things that I follow that have helped me. If you guys want to talk nutrition separately, we'll do that separately, and I'll share with you everything I know to be the size that I am. I have not always been this size. When I graduated college, I was almost 100 pounds heavier than I am now.
Really?
So, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to dig up the fat boy pics.
Were you
I'm
a
going
thick?
to.
Were you a thick boy, or were you like?
I was a thick boy. Okay, well, I didn't get any shorter or taller, so it was this plus 60, 85 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's hard to believe, but I definitely had like the package of hot dogs right here, and a pack of hot dogs right here, and a whole big old pillow right here.
You had these brats, right?
Oh, man, yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, see.
In the concordance, it says that one of the definitions of glutton is to be loose morally or worthless.
Yeah. See, and that's right, because I've looked this up before, but I couldn't remember. So we use the word gluttony, and we immediately think of fatness, thickness, overeating, right? But the actual biblical definition is loose morally, or what?
Or worthless.
Worthless.
There's also vile eater.
A vile eater. Now, in Jesus' time, there was foods that were pure and foods that were impure, and foods that were dedicated and used in heathen animal sacrifices. There were cannibals in Jesus' time. So any of these foods sacrificed to false idols or used in pagan worship or any of that, that would fall into this category of food. But outside of that, doesn't it make it a lot more sense in that context that people were upset for Jesus hanging out with drunks with loose morals than it does about Jesus hanging out with drunks that overate? Doesn't that seem like a much more valid argument?
Yeah.
See how the concordance helps? How looking at the words used when Jesus used them actually make a little bit more sense?
Wow.
So, see what we did there?
Yeah.
So,
You learn something new every day.
yo, keep it coming.
Okay, so also, in one of the verses, this one word, I have no idea how to pronounce it or what it is. It's like Riotus. It's Riotus.
Riotos? Something like that? Sure.
Whatever.
It's a Greek word?
I don't know. But it says, be not among wine
Bibblers.
But among riotous eaters of flesh. And so, with the eaters of flesh is what caught my eye. And then I clicked on that. And so it says eaters of self. So that's like.
So that's
So they're munching on their finger.
They're taking their fingers
like,
off.
Like, it's focusing on yourself, I guess, is what I would pull from that.
They're crunching on their thumb in the morning.
If you just look at it simply as like cannibalism or literally cutting off, say, your own finger and eating it, that's pretty nappy, right? We can see why people didn't like Jesus hanging around with those people. If you think of it as loose morals towards yourself, ooh, boy, does that go down all kinds of options, and you're all thinking of some, so I don't even have to go there. But, man, that's some pretty deep stuff. We should almost dig into that, like, entirely one Wednesday night. That verse right there. But, So, the original question, no, I don't think being overweight is a sin, but gluttony, in that context, absolutely sounds pretty bad. Okay? Alright, who's got another question? Yo!
Is it like invading another country considered sinning?
Why are you invading said country?
Is it for gluttony?
All their food.
If it's for power,
Expansion.
yes.
Every single
Absolutely a
meat
sin.
brought there.
Power expansion.
Unless God himself speaks to you and says, go here and do this, in that context, like when the Israelites in the book of Joshua went out to execute God's judgment and inherit the land that God had promised them, they were acting on behalf of God. That was righteous. When any nation, Attila the Hun, went across the world killing by the masses just to be the greatest nation in the world, yeah, absolutely sinful.
So like in like the Soviet Union and like early America, like those are
Kind of what?
like invasion just for land. Like this,
Yeah.
we thought manifest destiny, but it actually probably wasn't. We just probably wanted the land, like
Could have been.
west.
I mean, I can't answer for them. I can't see their conscience anymore than I can see yours. But I would say most likely they had some ill intentions because they went out and murdered, raped, plundered, all that of the Native Americans and anyone who got in their way. So they're probably for the wrong motives. But can God use that? Yes, he can. We see in Scripture where God used pagan nations to overcome the Israelites and invade them and conquer them and kill, destroy, just to teach them a lesson and punish them for their sins multiple times. So even if it's a non-godly nation, it can still be used at the will of God. So, yo.
Okay, so like one day we were discussing like the difference between murdering and killing. Like
Yeah.
one's like in cold blood and then the other one's like for defense. But like what about like the military and army and everything? Like would that be like murdering that a sin?
What's their intent?
What do you guys think? A soldier currently, we'll just say in the army, fighting, and he shoots a bad guy.
I would say to defend the nation.
Does he have a gun?
Great question.
Does he have intent to kill?
Does the bad guy have a gun? If he's been ordered to shoot every single person on site, I don't think he's any more excused of his actions than someone pushing Jews into a gas chamber during concentration camps. You're still responsible for your own actions to a certain degree, right? But if you believe in your heart that you are fighting for a righteous cause and you shoot someone who's shooting back at you, I don't think God's going to condemn you straight to hell for that. I really don't. But that's my thoughts. Not necessarily based on, I can't take you to a verse and a chapter and say, if you meet these 4 criteria, you can declare war, with God's blessing. However, God can absolutely use war, military, and individual soldiers to further his will. So there's no black and white answer. Yeah.
I would say with military, and there wouldn't, if you're defending the country you live in, let's just say the Russians against the Germans. Piper.
Go.
Somebody, I heard.
That was me.
One part, go. Just focus.
Well, the Soviets had to defend against the Nazis to save the whole face of Europe. So by killing Hitler and all of them, that wouldn't be considered murder unless you're out of cold blood killing the leader.
Now
Like Osama bin Laden.
here's my thought. And this is John's opinion, John's thoughts. If someone's invading your country, your home, your land, in the state of Missouri, and probably most United States, I don't know, but I know we have the king of your castle law. If someone breaks into my home, I can legally shoot them, kill them, and I suffer no consequences because they were breaking into my home. I'm the king of my castle. Now, if they're sitting in my home within or in excess of, I believe, 10 feet from the door, they're sitting in my recliner eating a sandwich, and they say, hey man, what's up? I can't touch them because they're not threatening me and they're outside of 10 feet from the door. I have time to discern their intent. Middle of the night, it's dark, and I just hear something goes bump in the night, I have legal right to shoot them. But, if I'm defending my home, I think I'm fine in God's eyes because I'm defending my wife and my children. If somebody's on my yard and I just don't like them, so I shoot them and then later say he was attacking me, that's a sin, that's ill intent.
Michael,
So-
please step in my yard, pal.
If you expand that to a city, does the city of Winfield's law enforcement have the right to protect its citizens against an invading city like in the old days? I think they do.
On the road.
Okay, Old Monroe rises up in arms, marches up 79 with AKs and ARs, and they start shooting. The city of Winfield has the right to defend themselves. I believe that. So, at what point, and that just grows up to the nations and then treaties and allies and all that like we see in the world wars. When you're in defense of someone attacking you, I think you're fine in God's eyes. So at what point does becoming proactive become a sin? So when we went after Osama bin Laden because he was the leader, we justify the means by the ends that we accomplish, and we say he will no longer hurt other people, so we killed him first. Well, then we get on a very slippery slope of, well, I thought his intentions were, so I shot him. Well, is that really okay? At what point do you really know someone's intentions? Someone in the case of Osama bin Laden, who has proved to lead thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of terrorist and terrible, horrible acts, then me personally, I have no problem taking him off the face of the earth, but that's John speaking. I'm not saying that's what God wants me to do. And it's easy for me to say that right here in the comforts of little old Winfield, Missouri. If I was actually over there and had him in the sights of my rifle, could I pull the trigger? I don't know. But if he had a gun to an innocent child's head, could I pull the trigger? Yes, I could.
Put a couple antlers on him.
Okay.
That would be like.
Put a couple antlers on him, I ain't thinking twice, man. It's a boom! Mount him on the wall and stick his butt in the oven. You know what I'm talking about? But, no.
I think that's cannibalism.
He had antlers.
John,
So-
what's that jacket made out of?
He was skin.
Osama
call
bin Laden?
They call it leather.
Laden leather.
Yeah.
But so where's the line when you get proactive and preemptive strikes? If any of you guys ever watched the movie of Tom Cruise called Minority Report, at what point are we infringing on people's freedom by acting on what we think their intentions are? Man, that's dangerous, and especially if we give that authority to any type of governing power, like a school district says, well, you were going to hurt somebody after school, therefore you're suspended. Well, it's only lunchtime. But we know you were going to do something bad after school, therefore you're suspended. Now you might think being suspended because they heard Michael was going to hurt somebody after school, he was going to go punch some soccer player in the face, you know, you're like, oh, so we intervened and we just simply separated them, okay. But if they lock him up in jail for 10 years for assault when he didn't do anything, all of a sudden lunchtime to the end of the day is a whole lot of time to change your mind. So where's that line? Only God knows. But, you know, I never wanted to be in the hands of the government, I can tell you that much. So that brings us back to war, and so really I don't have a clear answer on that. Anybody else got any thoughts on that? Kyle?
Not on the subject.
Okay.
Okay, we hope this comes out the way I want it to. Where do we draw the line between medicine and playing God?
Ooh, that's a solid one.
That's weird. I just watched a Cyborg thing today, and I was like, I'm not sure if I like this or if this is bad.
Alright. Anybody got any thoughts on this? Where do we draw the line between modern medicine and playing God? Anybody? Well, let's dig into that a little bit. Okay, so
They didn't have modern medicine back then, it was just herbs. Now it's all
I love how you pronounce the H.
Herbs.
Tim?
What kind of medicine are we talking about? Are we talking about like
Uh-huh.
healing somebody of their sickness, or are we talking about like making a person?
Yeah, you do have to you have to kind of stick with us a little bit. Stay with me, guys. Yo.
Like, I'm just gonna add on to that. Like he said, like, it depends on what type of medicine, because, like, for different things, there's, like, for different issues, there's, like, different doctors. But, so, yeah, I'm putting air quotes, because I think...
I'm with you.
Okay, so, like, if you have, like, I'm trying to think of the words. Anyway, okay, so, like, there's, like, aromatherapy for, like...
All kinds of stuff.
Exactly, and then, like, there's drug medicine and, like, prescriptive medications, like, which type of medicine? Because, like, I know that prescriptive medicines are to help fix your issue, not to, like, adjust you as a person.
Sometimes.
Well, yeah.
Some medication prescribed by your doctor is prescribed to treat the cause. An antibiotic is prescribed to fight the infection for you, okay? However, there are just as many prescriptions prescribed to fight or control the symptoms, okay? And there's a pretty big difference there. So, like, the difference is you have poison ivy because every night you go home and you sit in a poison ivy plant. They prescribe you Benadryl so that you don't get itchy, but they don't take away the plant, so they don't cure the root problem, right? Some medication will cure the root problem. Some medication simply treats the symptoms. If you have high blood pressure and they don't know why you have high blood pressure, they simply give you medicine to lower your blood pressure. That's treating the symptom, not the cause. Sometimes they don't know what the cause is, okay? But hey, high blood pressure is bad, so they just treat the symptom, okay? The common cold, we can't cure it. With all the modern marvels that we have, we can't cure the common cold. So what do? We treat the symptoms. Take Tylenol so your headache doesn't hurt. Take this so this doesn't ache, and eat chicken noodle soup because, well, I don't know, Grandma said so.
Because chicken noodle soup is flame.
Chicken noodle soup is so good, man.
It really do be like that.
Oh,
my
I'll tell you what, my Mammy's homemade chicken noodle
Your
soup.
grandma made me
Homemade Grandma Clay egg noodles.
Dude, can
I will drop keto in a second for Grandma Clay's chicken noodle soup, right? But, alright, guys.
Next time she makes it, I'd be overjoyed.
Alright.
Me too.
Alright, I actually make a pretty mean chicken noodle soup. I'll make it sometime.
Let's do you versus your
I need
wife
about
on that.
8 batches here, but that's alright. Anyway, back to the question. Where's the line? Now, guys, this is questioned every single day in modern medicine. Because Every single day, somewhere in our country, a family is forced with the decision of whether or not to remove a loved one from life.